All right, and here we go for the first time ever making history tonight right here on Facebook, YouTube, wherever it is you're watching from. This is the Dirty 30, a collaboration between myself, Josh Chastain, Worldwide West Lanham from Dirt Racing and the Bluegrass Live, DJ Smallwood from Slingin Dirt Media, and Matt Lamar from Flag to Flag Media. We're just going to talk about the hot topics and the trending stories in the dirt racing world. Guys, I'm excited about this. We've got 30 minutes. That's what this show is going to be. We've got 30 minutes on a timer. When that 30 minutes is up, we're done. But we're going to talk about what's going on here in the dirt racing in the world. Glad to be here with all of you guys this evening.
Glad to be here as well.
Absolutely.
I'm excited for it.
Really looking forward to this. I think this is going to be really good.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a whole lot of fun. I mean, honestly, we all cover different parts of the region mainly. We've got our separate stuff going on. I don't know whose idea it was, but DJ contacted me and said, "Hey, would you guys want to jump in on this?" I think it'll be a really good thing because I know on our show with Dirt Racing and the Bluegrass Live, we mainly focus on local Kentucky stuff. But it'd be nice to get on here and sort of change things up just a little bit and talk about what's going on regionally or nationally or whatever the storylines are. We'll spend 30 minutes talking about it. So I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree. I cover a lot of Southern Indiana stuff. I do travel a little bit to Northern Kentucky, but that's your guys' stomping ground. So, but a lot of stuff from Southern Central Indiana. So yeah, I'm excited. I know, we had the icebreaker this past weekend. We're going to get into some details on some of that stuff, but racing season is upon us, and I'm ready to get rocking and rolling.
Yeah. I am too, man, for sure. I don't know. I would say Northern Kentucky. That's DJ's stomping grounds up there, man. Florence Speedway. I can't claim that one. I'm not even going to pretend.
Well, Kentucky is kind of laid out a little bit funny. It does go up a little bit farther north to Cincinnati, right, DJ?
Yeah.
That's kind of your.
I live in Ohio, and I do go to a few Ohio tracks. I hit my Eldor a couple times a year, and Moeller a few times a year, and Tomic, and I get around, but I always consider Florence my home track.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Josh. What do you want to start off with first tonight? You want to start off with the Hudson?
Yeah, we can. We can start out with that. Yeah, let's go ahead and get right to it. I sent everybody a text in the group right before the show started and said, "Guys, let's just each pick a topic and we'll go from there for this first show." So, I mean, yeah, we could sit here and cover the tire gate. We could cover what was going on with Hudson leaving Rocket One, but honestly, that's old news at this point. But Dirt on Dirt / Flow Racing did come out with an article this year where Hudson opened up about his situation there with leaving Rocket One. A lot of information on there, but something that sort of stood out to me in that article was there was just a lot of misinformation being shared, a lot of things going through social media, and honestly, some allegations that really bring into question of someone who I think is just a great young driver. I mean, Hudson's always been nice to me. He's always friendly to everybody. Every time I see him, he just seems like such a good kid. And some of the things that were being shared on social media were really questioning his character. And the crazy thing about it was it wasn't just one person. It was, man, it was just going everywhere. You would see comments on every post, every story that would come out with people throwing these things out there. And it just shows you the power of social media. Like one person can say something, and before you know it, you've got thousands of people sharing something about somebody that's really, truly detrimental to who they are as a person. And I think it's honestly just a sad part of the social media world we live in. But it was good to see Hudson it's sad that he had to, but it was good to see him just come out and clear the air about some of that stuff and tell his side of the story, rather than seeing it from a bunch of people on Facebook, don't have a clue who they are, telling a made up version of what happened.
Yeah, I think whenever you start, and that's the bad thing, like you were saying, when you start jeopardizing somebody's human being or whatever with some of the allegations that were coming out. It's like, why? I mean, I don't know, from a fan standpoint, why even start some of those rumors? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
until it comes out and it's official, whatever. I don't know. It's just like I've always said, Facebook's a double-edged sword, and or social media in general. You get good content from there, but also too, people start rumors, and it's just like, really? I mean, you're really like you're putting somebody's personal life at danger just because of something that you're starting on social media. So, I mean, I'm glad they come out in the article and said what they said. I think it's one of those deals to where, like we've talked about it. I even kind of talked to Wes about it a little bit at Brownstown, I think, but it's just, that's between Hudson and Rocket, and, we'll find out what we find out eventually. But I mean, it's just like us. And I always look at it as it's just like us when we leave a job. There's reasons why I leave a job. So a lot of people don't know. But that's just between me and my employer, I guess. I don't know. That's just how I think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that's you just look at it and talk about the tire gate, and these drivers are just trying to get through the month of March and get to April. I mean, and then, the thing with Hudson and Rocket One, and just a lot of big news stories. And then, people that think they know what they're talking about, just, putting information out there on both of those topics that ain't true. And it's just, I don't know, you just see how one little thing can just be spread, and it spreads like wildfire. And I wish people just wait and let the truth come out if it's going to, and then if not, that's between whoever's involved. So making false allegations is not cool, especially for the people involved.
No, absolutely not.
Wes, I think your audio might be coming through your headset. Check your setting there real quick and make sure it's not. You've got that bottom of the barrel sound going on to me. It could just be me and my $5 AirPods too, though. Who knows? I could definitely.
And I think it's a lot of it's human nature. People just like to get nosy for no reason at all. Everybody's got to know everybody's business and what's going on. I really kind of care less, and unless they come right to me and say, "Hey, man, this is what's going on." It's none of my business. If they're not going public with it, it's obviously none of my business. So I'm not going to go commenting or saying things that I don't know about, because I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the thing that he did say was, even early on in some of his posts before he really came out and elaborated on it, was just the difference in the vision. You're right, and like there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I know I'll speak for myself. I mean, I've had opportunities before that were great opportunities. I mean, very thankful for every career opportunity I've ever had. But like sometimes for just personal reasons, it just doesn't work out. It's not the best. And like some people can look at it from the outside and say, man, how could you, I'm sure people have said that to me. How could you, pass that up, or how could you give that up? But sometimes it's just something from within. It's something that's personal to me. It's just a difference in vision. And there's nothing wrong with that, but people definitely made that out to be something that it wasn't. And,
right.
That's just unfortunate, because you guys know, I'm sure throughout your lives, there's probably been, similar. Unfortunately, we've never been a national, World 100 winner or a national champion or anything like that. But, we can relate in similar ways, I'm sure.
Haters are going to hate, man. Haters are going to hate.
I think that's where everything would jump to conclusion, is because at the end of the 2023 season, you've got a World 100 win, you've got the Lucas Oil Championship, and then a couple weeks into the season, or a month into the season, then this news came out. I think it's easy for people, like you said, Josh, to jump to a conclusion about, obviously a lot of people want to race for, higher power teams. And, it's like, why would you do that? Why would you leave? Well, I mean, we don't always see behind closed doors and know what's going on. So, obviously it was a decision that Hudson felt like he had to make, and for himself, for personal reasons, and kind of like what DJ was talking about. Sometimes you want to know, then sometimes there's just times that I don't want to know. Like, I just, from a media standpoint, obviously you try to get all the ins and outs of what's going on in the racing world, but sometimes there's just some things that I would just as soon not know. If I ever talk to Hudson at the track and he feels like he wants to tell me what was going on, then so be it. I'd be more than glad to listen to him. But if not, then I talked to Hudson at Brownstown Saturday, and the conversation led to deer hunting. So it is what it is, and we just talk about what we talk about, and just roll on with it. So
yeah.
And you look at whoever's going to be in that ride right there. It's so much pressure. I mean, that's probably one of the most premier rides in dirt late model racing with the Rocket house car. And so whoever's in it, there's going to be tons of pressure. And Hudson kind of touched on that pressure, and he hates to leave a successful team. I mean, like we've all mentioned, won a World 100 and a Lucas Oil Championship in the same season, and then but we may find out why for real why he left, and it may be one of those things that never comes out. So I don't know. I just wish Hudson the best in wherever he goes and whatever he does, because he is a great kid and a good talent.
Yeah, sure. I keep seeing Gager throw these comments up there. That's just the last one that I saw there. So I had to post one of those, and I don't know. I guess that makes perfect sense, Gager. I think that's you're probably spot on right there. But I don't know, man. I think just in the end, what it comes down to is that Hudson's a great driver. He's young. He's got plenty of time left in his career, and Hudson O'Neal is going to be just fine. Rocket One's one of the best, if not the best, rides in the country, and they'll be just fine too. And in the end, everybody will be all right and continue on with what they're doing. So, all right, next topic. We're already 13 minutes in, boys. We got to run.
Move on.
Let's roll.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Next.
Let's talk about the Jackson 100 or not Jackson 100. My bad. The Icebreaker and Atomic this past weekend. The Atomic got moved from Friday to Sunday. So then the Icebreaker was the opening race of the weekend. Overall, Wes and I were both in attendance at the Icebreaker. It was pretty dusty, but other than that, I thought the racing was pretty darn good, Wes. I mean, what do you think? I mean, track to me was racy all night. They watered one time, I think, and then other than that, it was just the track was phenomenal.
Yeah, the track was in really good shape. I think in the off season they had put some new dirt on it, and talking with the drivers before the race in the pits, before hot laps and everything, they were kind of wondering, what the track conditions would be like, and I thought it raced great when they come out before the feature and they watered it. I was kind of wondering, well, how's this gonna affect? And I thought the racing was great, even in the feature, and great car count. I think they had 48 super late models show up. Just a great night, and it was cool to meet you as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. Let's give Sylvester, Kentucky's Michael Chilton a shout out too for setting overall fast time. I was pretty happy for Michael for that.
Salvisa.
Yeah,
we gotta get.
I'm not south of the river.
Well, come on, man. We can't be.
Say that. How did you pronounce that again? Say that again.
Salvisa.
Salvisa.
You got to slow down. Salvisa.
Yeah, slow down a little bit.
Michael Chilton.
Yeah,
there you go.
You're getting ahead of yourself. You can't say it that fast. That's the number one mistake.
It sounded good though.
No,
even though it wasn't right.
Yeah,
fake it till you make it.
Exactly.
For our fans, we may have to translate for DJ and Lamar.
We don't have enough Southern twang to us.
Yeah.
But huge.
Well, I bet you the people up there, though, I guarantee you, people up in Indiana and Ohio, even Northern, get them like, who these hicks are? These two hicks, yeah.
Oh yeah,
so, part of it.
Where'd you get these two guys?
Yeah. What hall did you find there?
Gotta say that every election year.
But no,
yeah, I thought it was a great
out.
race. I mean, shout out to Devin Moran. I mean, I thought once Bobby passed him there, was it 3/4 way through the race? I really thought that because Bobby's really good at working lap traffic, and I knew lap traffic was going to come into play, but Devin chased him back down and got back around him, and yeah, it was a pretty good race.
That last caution that came out, I was like, what are they going to do? Because it was late in the race, but you still had enough laps. You was gonna get in lap traffic,
right.
And Moran just run it phenomenal. Picked his way through lap traffic and outrun Bobby Pierce and Mike Marlar. And 5 more laps, Marlar was flying on the top side.
He was.
Who knows what would
coming.
happen there? So just a great night of racing.
Switching gears to Atomic, the question I have for you guys. So Jonathan Davenport swept the weekend, fastest qualifier, won his heat, and then won the A main. Are we going to see another Davenport long streak coming? Do you guys feel like that? I feel like it's just a matter of time, in my opinion.
My opinion is those streaks are going to be far and few between. I mean, you got drivers like RTJ. I mean, he had his run. Bobby Pierce has had his run. You go back years, Blomqvist had his runs. Those runs are getting harder and harder to put together because there's more and more drivers that are just out there and they're on the gas every lap. And
for sure.
I think it's harder to see those successful runs because of the competition's getting so stiff. It's that we may never see another run like that, but that could happen 2 weeks from now. You never know. I don't think you're going to see them like that anymore. And I know Davenport's had those runs. It's just harder and harder with the competition we have nowadays and the rules. Everybody's in the same box and everybody's got the same thing. And it's just like you can be just a tick off and be nowhere near where you need to be. I mean, we seen Friday night, Jimmy Owens didn't even make the race. And then the next night he's running top 5,
Right. Oh yeah.
It's hard.
Sure. Well, Jackson Webster's got a good comment there too. He said 10 different winners in Lucas, which, Sunday was the first repeat winner. So that right there shows you how stiff the competition is when you go 10 races and you have 10 different winners.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to go on the street. Is that right?
He stole my comment. And another thing, you talk about qualifying is so key at both of those tracks, Brownstown and Atomic. And before the race there at Brownstown, I told Chilton, I said, man, whatever you do, I said, you've got to qualify good. And then he goes out and sets fast overall time. And I was like, he listened to me. And same way, I mean, RTJ struggles in qualifying. And then he starts deep in his heat. And I mean, he's flying, makes his way to the top, makes a show. So, I mean, it's crazy, but he was deep in his heat race because he had qualified bad. So I don't know. It was just good. As far as the run, I don't know. I'm like DJ. It's just there's so many good drivers out there. Now, if you hit on something and you get hot at the right moment, you could rattle a couple off. But the competition is just so good right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, something we talk about here at the local level is it's hard for local guys without the financial backing to compete with the guys who are on a national level. But I think because they're just at such a disadvantage with the technology and everything that is in the sport today. But I think at the national level, there's like 20 guys who can win on any given night. So it says a lot about anybody at the national level of those guys able to win right now. Says a lot about their program. I think it's probably harder to win now there for those guys than it's ever been. Like you talked about the domination of Davenport. I mean, how long, I don't know if there's been any numbers put to this, but how long has it been since at this point in the season, there have been 10 different Lucas Oil drivers win a race? That's just, that's pretty amazing. in itself.
It is.
Usually we go through speed weeks and somebody's at least won 2 or more just from Florida trip, you know?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's true.
To not even repeat at East Bay, I thought was amazing, you know, back to what you said, but to have 6 different winners at East Bay was crazy, in my opinion.
Usually B-Shep's good for a couple. I mean, there's been years where Turbo's won a couple, you know. You usually get at least a repeat once from Florida.
Yeah.
I think that's what made Dalton Wilson's win so special too. Not only because it was the finale, but I mean, he just, you know, he's had so many second places in a row, and then to win, to be the 6th different winner at East Bay, I thought that week was pretty awesome in my opinion.
Yeah,
Cat had been knocking on the door, man. It was a matter of time that it was going to happen, and for him to win the last one, the last, you know, Speed Weeks feature, unless something was to change,
right,
was just so cool, and I got to see that right there, standing in the infield and watching him, you know, run a great race and win. It was awesome.
Yeah, it definitely was. All right, we're at 22 minutes in right now. So we're 2 topics in. Do we have a third one? If we do, we better move on. We've got about 7 minutes here left.
Hey, this
buzzer
Dirty 30 is going to be tough to do. It's going to be tough.
It is. Yeah. We ain't backing down now. We're sticking to it.
It is what it is. I mean, the name says it all.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I think go ahead.
I was going to say, I mean, I can talk a little bit about the Northern All-Stars race last week at Florence. I mean, we can keep it short and sweet on that one. There were really 2 things to talk about there. I mean, the track was as good as you're going to get this time of year, I think. I mean, it wasn't rough. The cars weren't all over the place. Nobody was flipping over, nothing like that. So a smooth track is kind of a win there. No real drama other than the one heat race with Tyler Carpenter and Robbie Hensley, you know, and that's just a product of, man, 2 guys going hard for the same spot. You know, you give a guy a small opening and a guy like Carpenter that says, hey, man, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to win races. And Carpenter does what Carpenter does. You know, it got a little interesting at the end of the track, but, you know, that's part of racing. You know, you're going to have it. Comes around, goes around, I guess. So, Mikey,
I've heard him say that a different way before.
Yeah,
you were close.
He's a little more colorful with it than I am.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, speaking of Mikey Marla there toward the end, you know, the track, Florence does this occasionally. It'll get where, like that night, for instance, the top of 1 and 2 might have worked, but you were kind of bottom dominant. So you needed to be on the bottom in turn 3 and 4. He tried to make a pass there with like 6 or 7 laps to go and couldn't do it in 3 and 4. Had to regroup himself. I think if he may have tried that down in 1 and 2, maybe it would have worked. But then again, we had a late race caution and just kind of chucked that out the window. So not a bad night. Northern All-Stars making a return back, and, you know, 32 cars, I think it was.
Yeah.
So it was good racing, you know. Nobody got hurt, and just feelings, I guess.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. A few feelings hurt there. I mean, but, you know, that's nothing uncommon there. I mean, I was sitting on the backstretch for the Carpenter Hensley thing, so I definitely didn't have the best seat to really be able to see exactly what went on there. I guess my only takeaway from it, right there immediately sitting there watching it, was Robbie Hensley's a pretty big dude. So I knew Carpenter was upset, but I don't know how far you want to push that. You know what I mean? So that was kind of my takeaway. Immediate reaction.
They don't call him Big Show for nothing.
Yeah.
Not because he's a little guy.
Yeah.
He's a big boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might be one of those I might be stupid, but I ain't dumb kind of situation, you know.
Right.
You know, pick and choose your battles. But that was my initial reaction to it all.
Yeah. You know, this is, again, one of those things. I mean, I know it's heat of the moment, and I mean, you lose that sometimes when you're in the car, but had they both just let it go, I mean, Carpenter wins the heat race and Robbie starts outside row number 2 instead of having to go to a consi. But, heat of the moment, you forget things like that,
Yeah, you do. Yeah, it was definitely just unfortunate that it happened the way it did, but it was just it was a racing deal, like you said, two people going for the same spot, and made it entertaining for all the fans there because the place was packed.
Made it entertaining. That's right.
Yeah,
Robbie had one thing on his mind. He had set fast time. He was going to win his heat race, and he was going to win the feature. He was going to sweep the night, and that's all he had on his mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think the lucky one in all that was Josh Rice, because Josh was kind of tangled in that, but man, he was able to stay on the gas and and not come to a stop, which gave him the point at that particular point, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really worked out. Yeah, he definitely was the winner in that whole deal because he was put him in a outside pole starting position there in the feature and hung on to top 3. That was one of those races, same thing at Atomic, like you had, Boom Briggs brought that caution out there late in the race, and right as lap traffic was just going to be wild. And it seems to happen so often, but the same thing happened there at Florence because Marlar had got to the back bumper there of RTJ in lap traffic, and the caution come out, and pretty much knew at that point the race was probably settled, but unfortunate timing on that because that was kind of the race once both of those situations once that happened. So.
I felt like where I was at, like this is getting ready to get good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was about to, for sure.
I think regional racing is going to be phenomenal this year. That's just my opinion, but I think with the Northern All-Stars, all the other regional series that are running all over the Midwest and South and North, I think we're going to see a lot of great racing at that level this year.
Oh yeah, I think so too. I mean, you've got the Valvoline American. I'll butcher this name completely, but Ironman late model series.
Close enough. We'll go with it.
It's close enough up there in a new area though, but several events up there, kind of a new territory for them, but a big season on tap for them. You've got the Northern All-Stars, and then you've got you've got a bunch of really good events straight right here in the Bluegrass states, some other states too, but for the Ultimate Heart of America series, we've got a bunch of pro, crate, late model, whatever you want to call them, series going on around here. So yeah, regionally things are definitely in good shape.
Isn't Hunt the Front coming up there with you guys too?
Yeah.
They're going to come to Lake Cumberland and Ponderosa both.
Yeah, that's true.
Interesting.
I think they had 46 cars at their first night at Talladega.
Yeah. So, good start.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah.
And had a pretty good amount, 22 cars, I think, that had declared that they were going to run the whole series.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Something like that. Yeah. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a whole lot.
It's going to be interesting to see if Winger bounces back.
Yeah.
That's what I'm waiting to see after flipping to Talladega. So,
well, we'll see. All right, guys, we are officially out of time. This has been
overtime.
The Dirty 30. We'll be back with you. I don't know if all 4 be able to make every show, but when news comes up, when we need to, we're going to jump on here and do these shows. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. So we'll see you guys back on here very soon, hopefully in the near future.